Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time. Good morning, it's Carmichael, and I am not a morning person, but if you have a great morning routine that inspires you, it will change your life. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee, know that I believe in you, and in honor of our friend Tony Robbins, get ready for a shot of Entspresso from our Tony Robbins vault. Cheers!
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning. We think there are thoughts, so it makes it really hard to change them. And people meditate and try to not think thoughts. Show me somebody who's done that successfully, consistently. They're full of shit. Right? Everybody, the mind thinks thoughts. But here's the distinction. If I told you 100 years ago we were going to fly to the moon and back, you would have called me a lunatic. That's where the term comes from. And people still use it, and it doesn't make any sense because a lunatic is somebody who thought we'd go to the moon and back and we've done it, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where the term comes from. That's where it comes from. But if I would have told you 100 years ago that there's going to be a box in your pocket and you're going to pull this thing out, you're going to hit a couple buttons, and then it's going to capture invisible waves that are drifting around the earth and bring the waves in, and you're going to see somebody on the other side of the earth and you're going to talk to them, you're totally nuts. Thoughts are those invisible waves. And when you use your body in a certain way, if I sit like this, I'm going to tap into a different channel of those waves than if I'm sitting like this. Kind of like a TV set. If I turn one channel, it might be a comedy channel. I'm going to see a lot of laughter. Turn another one, it's a horror channel. Turn another channel, it's a romance channel. This is what changes which of those waves you touch in. So if you can start to realize that your thoughts that you think are your thoughts, there's nothing unique about your thoughts. They've been around for thousands of years. You're just tapping into them because of what you're doing with your body that makes you either fearful or passionate or courageous or whatever you're feeling. As you go in those states, you get different thoughts. So what I want people to see is that learn how to just see those thoughts go by. Learn how to be entertained by those thoughts. Because I have crazy thoughts, but what I've gotten good at is going, look at that crazy thought. That's not me, that's the mind, not your mind. Because if it's you, how do you change you? Pretty hard. But I really, truly know I haven't heard a thought come out of you that's original. You call them your thoughts, but they're not. You've stolen them. They've been around forever. When you see that, it's easier to let go of them. And letting go of those thoughts is one of the ways that you free yourself. And again, the more you do it, just like a muscle, you get better and better and better. And all of a sudden, it used to make you crazy or stressed out. I'm like, how many things have you worried about that never came to be? And some people, their life is good, so they worry about other people, so they're never not worried, right? So it's really just a pattern. If you want wealth, real wealth is not just money, it's emotion. It's like, what are we really after in money? You don't want money, you don't want pieces of paper with the pictures of deceased notables on it. You want what you think money will give you. You think it'll give you freedom or security or stability or love. It won't give you love, it'll get you sex, it won't get you love, money won't, right? So really what you're after is the emotion. And so what I want people to get is the emotion they want now, and all it is a new habit. It's learning to discipline this mind, right? By realizing the mind thoughts are out there and letting them float by and constantly coming back to what can I love about this? What can I appreciate? It's like, if you can learn to love or at least appreciate, start to enjoy the things that you used to get upset about, how much freedom would you have? How much more joy would you have? And I know people who got billions of dollars, I've coached them, who is like, holy shit, they live in scarcity all the time. One man, I'll never forget, he's screaming at his wife. I'm in the meeting, I'm in the house, and he's screaming at his wife because she spent some money on a bunch of outfits and stuff like that. And he's a multi-billionaire. He couldn't spend all his money in his lifetime. And then he's totally upset at his daughter who's in her 20s who spent some money too. And I'm like, I pulled him aside afterwards and I said, what do you do this for? And what do you do it for? And he's like, well, it's the principle thing. I said, no, the principle thing is, do you love these people and do you want them to have an abundant life? When you don't have one loss, but you live like you're poor, And it's like, I finally got through to him. But so many people, that's why I say money doesn't change you. Money magnifies who you are. So you want to expand the depth of who you are and free yourself from suffering by just knowing it's a pattern of thought, and you can change the pattern of thought.
One of the ways I've been disciplining my mind recently is trying to reframe anything negative and telling myself it's the best. This has been a kick I've been on for the past couple months, that whenever something bad happens, I tell myself it's the best. And so this came out of me going to ClimberCon as an event in Palm Springs, and I met up with a fan of mine, Leo,
who is an awesome dude, and he was gonna film something with me. We wanted to drive out into the desert, which is about an hour outside of Palm Springs, and he met me on this insanely hot day, 90 plus degrees, and he tells me, Evan, it's super hot outside. Do you still wanna go for this hour-long trip out into the desert? I say, yes, let's do it, Leo. I'm pumped. Let's go. This is what I came for. I'm excited to see you. Let's do it. Then he says, well, also my air conditioning is broken and we won't have any AC for the whole trip. Like, let's do it. This is the best. Let's go. I'm down. I want to do it. Let's keep going. It's like, and we can't roll the windows down because if we're filming, it'll really ruin our audio. So we gotta sit in this car, in this van the whole time and not have any AC or windows. Yes, Leo, I want to do it. Let's go. This is the best. I want to go. Let's do it. Come on, come on. As soon as we get outside of the airport, I'm already feeling heat. I'm a Canadian, not used to the crazy 90+ degree weather. We get into his car, and just sitting in the car for 2 seconds, I'm already sweating. I'm already feeling the heat. Like, this is amazing. This is the best. That reframe. This is the best. I'm so pumped to do it. And we start driving. And as we start driving, it gets so hot that the camera shuts down. The camera malfunctions because it got overheated. So we decided to get out on the street, on this stretch of the highway, and film the videos there. And there's barbed wire fences, and there's bottles of pee on the floor, and there's a dildo on the ground, and all of this crazy stuff happening. It's like, this is the best. This is amazing. I love it. And then we went from filming there to filming at the YouTube event, where we're in this huge room and they're giving away all sorts of free stuff. And just a dichotomy of this super negative, crazy chaos environment to this luxury one where you're getting a whole bunch of free stuff. I love both. Here's what I think. I think negativity is coming for you, right? I think I lean in on the positive. It's amazing. All of the great stuff that happens is the best too. But when the negative stuff does happen, it's not that you seek it. It's not that you're looking for it. It's not that you want to invite it into your life. But when negativity does happen, what do you do? How do you react? What do you think? I choose to discipline my mind to say, when that negativity comes, I want to react in a positive way. There's nothing neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. I want to react in a positive way. I want to see this as this is the best. This is my chance to shine. We're going to have an amazing time through this chaos. I love it. It's going to be a great experience. Well, then people say, okay, awesome, you have to sit in a sweaty car. That's the best. Okay, I get it. But what happens when there's some really big pain that happens? We're not just talking about waiting for an elevator or standing on a red light or one little thing didn't go right in your schedule that day. What happens when your business fails? What happens when you want to quit? What happens when something major happens in your life? I honestly think that that's the best too. I'm a big believer that your purpose comes from your pain. I think if I didn't struggle and suffer so much and started my business, I wouldn't be doing this. The total lack of self-confidence and self-worth that I had in the early days of my business, in feeling like I'm putting in all this work and all this effort and nothing is working out, that is the reason why I do what I do now. My individual pain and suffering is now the reason why I'm out helping millions of people. And I think it's the same thing for you. I think your purpose comes from your pain. I think if you have not been through pain, it's really hard to have a strong purpose. If you look at the people who you look up to, who are on a mission, who have a deep purpose, they want to change the way something is done, it's because of a deep pain that they came from. And I think ultimately humans are good. I think people are good. I think you want to serve. I think when you've been through something and you've come out on the other side, you naturally want to help other people who are going through it now. I want to help entrepreneurs out so much because I still feel that 19-year-old version of me struggling and suffering, and I want to help that guy out, and I want to help you guys out. So even when you get hit with some big news, not just this little tiny, okay, you got to deal with hot weather, but big news that causes deep pain, it's still the best. If you can reframe it to say, this is the best, because getting through this, I will be able to help millions of people who are going through the same thing. So how do we apply it? I'm going to give you 2 suggestions. First off, try to reframe the negativity. Use it as an exercise right now. Just think about something negative that happened right now. Think about maybe you were standing in line at the coffee shop and the person was rude to you, or you stood in line at a red light and it was really frustrating to you. You're waiting for that elevator, or you spilled coffee all over yourself, right? It's the best. Just reframe it. Just take the negative thing that happened to you right now, today, so far, or yesterday, a negative conversation, anything, and just tell yourself, this is the best. and try to find a reason why. And get used to that reframing. Every single time something negative happens, you won't catch it all the time. But the more you practice catching it, the more you will catch it ongoing. Practice it right now. Think about that one thing, and then think about how can that be the best? And then find another one, and how can that be the best? And the next time you're feeling negative, frustrated, upset, angry, how can that be the best? If you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning, and you're frustrated and sad and angry about yourself, if you do it, like tomorrow, wake up and do it. And the next day, do it. Get out of bed, or still suffer for the next 3 months getting out of bed. Understand, why is it the best? How is that the best? Because when you figure out how to do it, when you get out of bed, you will be able to help millions of other people who have that same problem as you. So the struggle, the fight, the effort, it's the best. And 2, think about your purpose coming from your pain. People like to avoid their pain. We want to run from our pain. We never want to remember the pain. Especially entrepreneurs, we like to lean in on the positive and the optimistic, which is amazing. But the answer is to jump head into your pain, not run away from it. You dive into it. And in there is the answer for what you should be doing with your life and your business. Write this down. What is your biggest pain? Whether it was growing up, whether it happened last year, like what are some of the most painful moments in your life? And try to remember it. You may have a block. You may have tried to wipe it from your memory. Don't do that. That's your purpose lying in there. Write down the most painful moments in your life and then see how is that the best. Not because it happened to you, because that sucked, but how do you turn it from that negative situation into you being able to serve others? That's how it becomes the best. That painful moment that you had, how can you use that to serve other people? Write that down. Now I've got a really special bonus clip for you, but before that, question of the day, I want to know, what was your pain and how have you turned that into your purpose? How is your biggest pain in your life the best? Leave it down in the comments below.
You know, there's only a handful of primary emotions. And unfortunately, we haven't done a great job in Western culture of teaching how to feel emotions, label them, and then how to work with them. You know, I didn't have that course. I don't know if you did. Exactly. And I didn't have a course on how, you know, the basic mental skills work, how to label them and how to train them. So we haven't done a great job of doing this in the education platform. And if there's only 3 things we can train, craft, body, and mind, like why are we not training the mind? Like because the way that thoughts and emotions work, it's like a bang bang experience. They happen like right next to each other. And there's some conversation about what comes first. Is it a thought, then emotion, or is it an emotion, then a thought? Most people in the field of psychology would say it's thought, then emotion. The way that I think about this is that it's like a rider and an elephant. So the rider is the thought, and then as soon as the emotion wants to run, because the thought that maybe the rider's scared, he's having scary thoughts, or sad because he's having a lot of sad-based thoughts, that when the elephant wants to go, when the emotions run, you're not controlling that thing. Your job, my job, is to be the rider, a thoughtful, aware rider of thoughts. And when we're able to be aware of our thoughts, then we can guide and negotiate our thoughts so they don't run wild. Ultimately, there's a meta-awareness that takes place where when you train awareness, and I'd like to get into that conversation with you, when you train awareness of your thoughts, emotions, body sensations, and your environment, awareness of your environment, those 4 things, we become more finely tuned so that we can choose great thoughts. We can harness our emotions. We can feel our body sensations and use them to facilitate clear thinking, creative thinking, or great output. And when we're more aware of the unfolding, unpredictable environment around us, we can course correct and adjust and pivot. And that makes all the difference in the most intense environments in the world, whether that's an emotional intensity, vulnerability, or that is, you know, center court, whatever sporting environment that we're talking about.
If you want to see my recent one-on-one interview with Tony Robbins, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The quality of your life has nothing to do with how much money you have, how many beautiful children you have, how many people love you. The quality of your life is where you live emotionally. This is the time to retool. It's the time for you to say, where's the world now? Where do I think it's going?